Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning in. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of Dizzy Miss Lizzy that they did in May of 1965. The song was written by Larry Williams, who also wrote Bad Boy and Slow Down, two other songs the Beatles recorded. And Larry recorded it in February of 1958. The 45 didn't do much in the UK, but John Lennon liked the song. So the Beatles performed Dizzy Miss Lizzy quite a lot in the Cavern and Hamburg days. In response for Capitol Records wanting new material, they went into the studio, Studio 2 of EMI, on May 10, 1965, and recorded two versions live of Dizzy Miss Lizzy. But George Martin thought they could do it a lot better. And about that, Paul has said, "We did occasionally get pissed off with George Martin. As time went by, things crept in. In an outtake I heard recently recording Dizzy Miss Lizzy, John is saying, 'What's wrong with that?' And George Martin says, 'It wasn't exciting enough, John.' And John mumbles, 'Bloody hell.' That kind of thing was creeping in a bit. 'It wasn't exciting enough, eh? Well, you come here and sing it then.' So they do 5 more takes, and in essence, what we'd call take 7 ends up being the best. And John throws in some of those oohs and woos to pacify George Martin. Then they did the overdubs, which was John Lennon on Hammond organ and Ringo on cowbell. And George double tracks that lead guitar riff, but the lead guitar is very inconsistent on Dizzy Miss Lizzy. There's screw-ups actually coming in after the guitar solo. It's almost like George is not sure when to play the riff. And though it's double track, it's very sloppy, and some would say it's George's worst lead guitar playing. And there's a number of times the track actually speeds up, like around 40 seconds in. The whole band speeds up, but nevertheless, they got it done, and it was mixed that night. They also recorded it live for the BBC on May 26, 1965, and they recorded it for the Hollywood Bowl shows on August 29th and 30th, and they had to splice those two shows to get it one take, because on the 29th show, Paul and George's microphones weren't plugged into the mixing console. They also played it, of course, for the Shea Stadium TV show, and Paul had to go in and overdub his bass because no bass was recorded for the Shea Stadium concert. They, of course, played it a lot on the American tour in 1965. And it was released on June 14th, 1965 in the U.S. on Beatles 6, and on August 6, 1965 in the UK on the Help album. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John is playing his Rickenbacker 325 on Dizzy Miss Lizzy. I've got mine going through a 64 Vox AC30 with the tone just about at half mast. It's a basic 12-bar blues in the key of A, so the chords are, of course, A, D, and E with an E7 occasionally. And it's just your basic rock and roll moves. It's very improvisational, so John does it a million different ways, and if you'd like to know it precisely, charts and tabs at mikepachelli.com. But I'll go over a lot of it. So on the intro, he just plays like this. I'll do it slow. 3, 4. Course, picks up before he gets to singing, and there's the only time he does those triplets at the very beginning on the E, so it's like, and then he's singing and playing. So now on verse 1 and 2, which are very similar, beat 1 is just an A chord, and then he proceeds to rock like this. There's verse 1, 3, 4. Like that. And that's pretty much exactly the same on verse 2. It's not noteworthy to go through it in too much detail. Then on the first instrumental, which was almost like a solo, but George just plays the same riff. There's a few variants, but not much. So on the instrumental, the very first one, it's John plays like this. He goes. He's starting to get two notes. And then to the D. Back to the A. To the E. Back to the A. And then same eighth notes on the E7. And again, you know, it's all loose, so sometimes he's playing two notes, you know, and sometimes it's just one, sometimes it's, but sometimes it's like, you know, like that, so it's neither here nor there. Verse 3 is very similar. Here's verse 3. Again, just when he's singing, he just plays on beat 1 a chord. He goes like 3, 4. So you see, there's a lot of variances. Like on that D, when he gets to the D, he goes to the I'm not going to bore you with every single bit of it. Charts and tabs will show you exactly, but what I think you need to know is just that very last chord on the last verse is just an A6. So the last verse coming out of it, when he comes from the D to the E, when he goes an A6 like that. Charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it perfectly clear if you want to know exactly what he played throughout the whole song. But that's the gist of what John Lennon did on Dizzy Miss Lizzy. George Harrison is playing his Gretsch Tennessean on Dizzy Miss Lizzy. This is a Gretsch country classic, and now the AC30 is dimed. Upon a casual listen, you'd think that he was doing this riff exactly the same, but nothing could be farther from the truth. It seems like he's not even sure where to put it or how to put it sometimes. But the basic riff is like this. It's just on the B string, 12th and 10th fret. You bend the 12th fret up, pull it off to the 10th, bend back to 12, back to the 10. So it starts on the end of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So occasionally he ends up on the 12th fret B over the E chord, but sometimes he ignores that. But on verse 1, instead of starting on the end of 1, he starts on 2. So during a verse, it's 1, 1. Then on the end of 1, on the D chord, he starts on the end of 1, 1. And he never goes to the 12th fret there on verse 1. On verse 2, again, starting on beat 2, so again, 1. Right now on the instrumental, which is kind of like a lead, he starts on the second measure. So the instrumental should be starting, but he's just on that A note. So where this would be like the lead, he's already here, and then he plays again on the end of 1/1. D chord. He does get to the E chord, and then he does a lick at the end. So it's just basically like over D, and then over A. And that's verse 3. And on verse 3, he's starting the lick on the end of 1 like he should. But at the end of verse 3, he's confused. Because let's see, going from the E of the end of verse 3, he goes 1. Now he gets to the 12th fret there, but that's a D chord. But he hits a B note, but he hits it real quick and gets off it. Then he goes back to A, and he goes... And he starts it all over again for the instrumental, the second instrumental. I know that's confusing, but charts and tabs will make it perfectly clear. But it's just he's not playing it exactly the same in the exact same places. And at the end of, what would that be? That instrumental plays that same little line, that, but in a different place. So coming from the E, let's see. Well, I'll do. I guess I'll do the instrumental too, so you see what I mean. Getting into verse where he plays that lick differently. So the second instrumental, he's on the A to start. And then we're to verse 4, and again he's starting on beat 2, 1, and the second one on the end, da 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 da. Let's see, and then verse 5. Yeah, is there anything different? Just at the very end. So verse 5. Here's verse 5. 3, 4, 1. Again, charts and tabs will make it a lot clearer than I could say it or play it, but you see, he didn't play that riff exactly in the same place every time. I have put it together in a sound alike so you can see exactly what he did, so have a look at this.
You made me
Well, the sound alike should make it perfectly clear on who played what, when, and where. I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com, learn all the parts, play along with my sound alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I really appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great old rocker, because that's what playing the guitar should be all about. I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.